It's the Pigskin Preview. I'm Nick Roush. He's Adam Luckett. We're doing things a little bit differently in the luxurious KS office for this wonderful podcast presentation brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks. We got some winners on PrizePicks right around the corner. I gave you a winner last week. We're going deep this week, but before we get to that, Luckett, I think I actually made it 8 straight losses before I rattled off 4 in a row. Went 2-1 last week, so we bounced back. I think you won something like 10 in a row and then lost 5 straight. So, you know, these college football gambling, it comes in waves. Just ask our pal Andy Staples.
Yeah, you just got to ride it, and you got to weather the storm when the bad times come. So we both kind of, as soon as my hot streak ended, yours started. So I hope your hot streak's not very long so I can get back on the horse this week.
Well, you'll get back on the horse soon enough. Maybe you'll get on some horses. This is a very fun college football gambling slate. So I want to mention a couple of the games. I'm going to spare the big one because it might be one of my plays. One game that's not like the big marquee matchup, Auburn A&M is very intriguing to me, Luckett, because
yes.
It feels like A&M should whoop their ass. You know, like I mean, Auburn's not that good at football, but A&M feels like they're very vulnerable in situations like this where they should be a touchdown better than an inferior SEC foe, and also feel like Hugh Freeze is going to be good in a spot like this. So I don't really know what to think of that. That 7.5 seems awfully dangerous to take to be on A&M side here.
You're right. That's a game A&M should win and needs to win. I think you look at Auburn this year, their metrics are off the charts. I mean, they're top in the SEC, I think, in net success rate, but their schedule's been bad. They went and won at Cal, but the offense stunk. But other than that, they've just totally waxed the teams they've played there at Jordan-Hare Stadium, but this is a different animal. Going to College Station, I think it's a good kind of test for A&M. Where is A&M really? Because Auburn, at the end of the day, Nick, they're probably going to be like a 7-5 team. So where is A&M? They should be handling a 7-5 team at home right now under Jimbo. So that's kind of where that's at. It's going to tell us a lot, not necessarily about Auburn. I think this game's going to tell us a lot about A&M.
The other kind of sort of indictment game is Alabama Ole Miss. And I wish I could quickly pull up the numbers on the amount of money, but it feels like the public is all over Ole Miss, which just, I mean, isn't that the time to back Saban? Backs against the corner. I know there might be, like, this quarterback stuff is weird now, but if you think back to what's before, the quarterback situation, it really didn't matter. And I know college football is different now. They aren't just going to run it right down their throat, but as fun as it is to back Lane Kiffin, this feels like the time to not hop on that. I think I'm going to stay away, but if I had to pick a side, it's got to be Bama here.
Jalen Milroe's back at quarterback for Alabama. To me, you got to ask yourself this question. Is Jackson Dart as good as Quinn Ewers, and is Ole Miss as good as Texas? I don't think so.
And no.
I think
not even close.
Ole Miss is low-key struggled to run the football this year. They're going to ask Jackson Dart to go win this game, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think Alabama wins here. I think it's a good spot to back Bama, but the number is high. I mean, it's more than a touchdown. They got to win by. So that's a little tricky, but I do expect Alabama to win this game. So if you were looking to do a big money line parlay, I would throw that
could be some decent.
Because it's not. It won't be off the charts, and it could be a nice one to bump up those odds with your other likely winners.
There's a couple more. One more game I want to touch to. Colorado, Utah. I'm not going to take a gummy and sit back and throw 10 bills on it like the Mad Dog Russo's going to, which that guy, dude, what a hang. We need to have a Saturday with the Mad Dog. That sounds like a hell of a time he's going to have watching the Buffs. He's ready to back the Buffs. 21 points is a lot of points, but they don't have their best player. I got on that win total preseason Luckett, and I just don't want to have anything to do with Colorado this weekend. That Colorado State, it always felt like the right side, even though I didn't know about them that much last week. I just don't know if Oregon's going to be – like, it feels like Shadur can put together some – that just feels like a backdoor by Colorado, that, like, they can go down 28-0, but Shadur and Colorado can score quickly, even though Travis Hunter is their best weapon. It feels like they're going to put up enough points. I might be interested in the over here, even though it is a little bit on the high side. I want to say it was in 58-ish range, but I think that might be the way I would be leaning here.
Yeah, the total's up into the 70s, so it's a high.
Is that? Oh, it's that high. Yeah. That's tough.
We are 1 win away from Colorado being our first cash of the season win totals. 3.5.
Which would be awesome.
We're on the over. We are a win away from that cashing. To me, Nick, 21's a lot of points. The total's pretty high. If we're even looking at player props, both passers are over 300 yards. I mean, it's a lot. That's just a lot. A lot has to go right on offense.
We're asking a lot. But to me,
the value here with me, and this probably is going to be a play in the betting column this week.
Ooh.
Colorado, the last 2 games has started slow. TCU got rolling on offense in the first quarter. Oregon has come out and got big leads in most of their games this year. Ducks -5.5 first quarter. You get an Oregon lead early, you get a touchdown early, you get a couple stops. That one can cash for you. So I think the value there is probably, to me, we would be looking at Oregon first half plays, whether it's first quarter or the half, or if they get behind early, then jumping on them when the number drops live betting. That to me is where you're going to find value in this game if you're looking to place a wager or two when this one comes on at 3:30 on ABC.
Which this is the part of the podcast where we need to thank Shadur Sanders for helping our PrizePicks ticket hit last week, thanks to double overtime and a 98-yard scoring drive. With only a minute to go, if you rode with him, you were able to cash. I think the line was 341.5, and he got to 348. And in part, thanks to the 2-point conversion in the second overtime. You can get on PrizePicks with us this week. Download the app, put in promo code KSR. They'll match your first deposit up to $100, 100% of it. So if you just went $20 to sprinkle in there, they'll throw 20 in for you. They're going to help hook you up when you use promo code KSR. All you do is you pick a couple squares, you go more, you go less. We're going more this week. We're hammering the overs. There's a lot there. This is the first time we've also been able to play with the Kentucky Wildcats. And Luckett, you chose the quarterbacks. You're in on A.J. Swan with more passing yards. I like the Dylan Gabriel choice with Oklahoma. I'm a big believer in Arkansas this week as well. But the Ray Davis homecoming, 97 yards. We talked about it on 11 personnel on Wednesday night. But this might be an established run game for Kentucky. And, I mean, Kentucky coaches aren't going to say they're trying to get Ray his, but they kind of want to – I think they want to rub Vandy's nose in it. Like, we got him, you don't, suck it, Clarkley. So I had to add that in there. And if you use the power play with PrizePicks and we hit all 4 of these, Luckett, 10 times your bet. So, 4 plays, let's rock them, let's roll them, let's win some money this week.
Yeah, I think you look at Oklahoma, Cincinnati, Dylan Gabriel. Cincinnati's got a good D-line, but they're susceptible in the secondary. I think they're going to throw the ball a lot there, so I like him there. A.J. Swan, 215.5. Not a lot of passing yards, but I think Vanderbilt's going to have to throw the ball a lot on Saturday. So I would roll with him there. And then K.J. Jefferson, Arkansas is going to have to score, and it sounds like Rocket Sanders is not going to play. You look at LSU, their pass defense has been bad, run defense has been good. So I think K.J. Jefferson is going to have a big day throwing the football for them to stay in the game. And then Ray Davis, we've talked about, he's gone over 100 twice. To me, it's just how many carries does he get? I think he'll get that number. He's just got to get the right amount of carries. So we've heard Mark Stoops talk about wanting to run the football. So I think that's going to happen.
Let's see if it will. Download PrizePicks. Promo code KSR, 100% of your deposit match up to $100. Now into this week's picks. We're doing a little bit better on this side. Like it's returning to the mean. We're getting there. I'm going with the biggest game of the week, the primetime game. And I normally just try to do let's put the math on our side. Let's do something without a bunch of risk. But because up in this point, neither team has been truly tested, Notre Dame or Ohio State. But I'm trying not to overthink it here. Notre Dame's a home dog, and they've got the better quarterback. I like this offense. I know Ohio State did turn it on in the second half there against Western Kentucky and really ran them off like that. That was the first time I think Ohio State fans were like, this is what we're supposed to be doing. They're not necessarily – Notre Dame isn't necessarily built the way that the Michigan teams have been built to beat Ohio State. Really, it's been kind of knock down, drag them out. So that part I don't like. But the Notre Dame defense, let me read some advanced stats off for you. They're second in success rate, second in EPA per play, and third in yards per play. That was their offense. Their pass defense ranks fifth in success rate too. So I know Marvin Harrison's good. Igbuka's really good. But I think Notre Dame has enough to get enough stops. That's going to be a huge environment. This is going to be one of the biggest games at Notre Dame in a long time. That place still has some magic in there. And I think this is where Sam Hartman asserts himself and says, you know what? I'm a Heisman contender. At Notre Dame, we're going to be in the talks as one of the best 5 teams in college football all year. So give me Notre Dame and the points at home, a home dog howling with the best quarterback on the field.
Yeah, I think to this point, Notre Dame's looked like the better team, and they're catching points at home. So
right, like it's. I don't need to think too hard, right? Like they've looked better. They're getting points at home. I only worry about being a sucker for that. Like, is that a stinky line?
Yeah. The big worry I would have is just if like Marvin Harrison just takes a game over. If he just has a 12 catch, 138 yard, 2 touchdown performance.
He could.
But it's a great opportunity, I think, for Notre Dame. They really got a chance here. This is a really great spot. So, you're getting the insurance with the hook. So you get field goal and a hook. So you got to like it there with Irish.
Get this W, Irish Luckett. Who you got for your first pickup this week?
Yeah, road dogs are going to be a popular play for us this week. And for this, I try to stick to Power 5. Because of the typical Eastern Michigan road dogs out there, but we're trying to stick Power 5 here with these 3 picks of the week. I'm going BYU at Kansas. It's actually jumped up to 9.5. So you're actually getting a better number than the 8.5. BYU, Nick, Kalani Sitake as a road underdog at BYU is 13-4 against the spread. They just won outright at Arkansas last week. Kansas has not laid more than a touchdown against a power conference opponent since Mark Mangino was on the sidelines. This is a large number for them to be laying here. I think BYU certainly has the better defense. I think though Kansas's defense is still bad. They'll be able to find some offensive success here. I think Keaton Slovis takes care of the football at quarterback. BYU stays within this number the entire game. I think they have a legit chance to win this game, but I like them to keep this one close. So give me BYU plus 8.5 or 9.5, depending on where you can get it right now.
BYU showed too the rookie for the Rams. It's like, maybe they would have stolen a few more games if he was healthy all of last year. That guy's been a stud for them so far. I missed my trends on KS board this week though, Lucky. Where's our? I need my trend.
They're out there. I put them out there. You just missed it. You got to get on your message board game.
Did you hit the football tag? Did you put the football tag on it?
Pretty sure.
Damn it. I didn't scroll enough because I like the trends. I love the trend stuff, and it's hard to find, but you do a great job with it. I'm going to do a great job here, and I'm going to ride with one of my winners from last week. And I know it sounds kind of lame to just stick with the team that did well, but North Carolina is facing a Pitt team. It feels a lot like the Minnesota team that they just put it on at home and handled pretty easily. Jerkovich stinks. That guy's bad. And West Virginia put him in a pretzel. Somebody created a highlight video of just all of the Jerkovich awful plays. I just don't think he's good. And to beat North Carolina, you have to score points. Stylistically, they're similar. And you think in your mind like, Pitt's got this good defense. They haven't played a top 50 offense all year. So, I know it's 7.5. I don't like the hook, and I'll probably end up going to the counter and paying for that half point. But give me North Carolina minus 7.5. This feels very similar. I hope it's not a letdown spot, but they are opening ACC play, so I'm expecting North Carolina to go out there and get it done. Give me the Tar Heels minus 7.5. Maybe they're just my team this year. Maybe they're just my second team because I just pick their games every single week. They're the new Boilermakers. Instead of the Boilermakers, I'm Mac Brown in my walker at 84 years old, coaching on the sideline. Look at who you got up next.
Next here is we're staying in the Big 12. Another road dog. Oklahoma State at Iowa State. The Pokes are catching 3.5. Nick, this is the degenerate under of the week. The total's 35.5. This is going to be one ugly football game in Ames. The Bear has a stat where Matt Campbell lines between 3.5 and 3.5. He's an atrocious. He has an atrocious record against the spread.
He was 6-20 going into last week's game, then lost outright. So it's now 6-21 at covering those games within a 4-point window. So it's a principal play, Luckett, as you like to call it.
Yeah. The underdog in this series over the last 5 years is 4-0-1 against the spread with three outright upsets. Oklahoma State's 11-6 as a road dog since 2015. Iowa State 6-11-1 against the spread in conference games since Brock Purdy left campus. I like Oklahoma State here. Both these teams are coming off the same situation. Both had bad losses to Group of 5 opponents. Oklahoma State's offense is better. Iowa State has the best unit with the defense in this matchup, but Oklahoma State's got a better running game. They'll be able to run it, and they'll find a way to. I think they're going to win outright, but you're getting the insurance with the field goal plus 3.5. We really like that number right there under the key number. So give me the Oklahoma State Cowboys plus 3.5.
So you got a principal play, and now it's about time for me to share a new principal play coming to 11 personnel this fall, and that's the Louisville overs. The Louisville defense, I think you said they dropped 30 points in efficiency just in their first week at Georgia Tech. It's not that good. Indiana can't score points, but they had, I want to say, 4 scoring opportunities in the second half last week, and they only came away with 2 touchdowns. Indiana's offense is inept. So that's why we didn't start it last week. But they're going up against a Boston College team that just put up a ton in a hurry. And I know they got an onside kick, and that helps that in the second half. And they had some weird turnovers by Florida State. But this feels like a game that Louisville's going to score a ton of points in the first half. They're going to play with their food. And then if you can get 3 scores out of Boston College, this is only 54.5, I want to say. If you can get 3 scores out of Boston College, this feels like it'll get home. Jack Plummer's not very good. That's the only part that I worry about this principal play, Luckett. But he doesn't have to do much work. Just give it to Jamari Thrash. Let Jawar Jordan. Jawar Jordan isn't a great down running back, but dude makes big plays. They're very explosive. They got some very explosive playmakers. So even if they're not at their best, they got guys that are just going to score some touchdowns off some big plays. So the Louisville over, this is going to be the first of many that we're just going to be tracking week by week. We're starting with Boston College.
Yeah, I think Thomas Castellanos has stepped in at quarterback, a dual threat guy, kind of a John Rice Plumlee-ish player, where he's kind of a run-first quarterback and really dangerous in the open field. He's given them life. They gave Florida State all kinds of problems. They outgained Florida State last week up there in Chestnut Hill. This is really going to test, I think, Louisville's run defense for the first time this season. Louisville's been susceptible against the pass. It's going to look a little different this week, but this is going to be a different challenge. They're going to stretch them in the run game. So I think Boston College is going to score, but their defense is really bad. So Louisville should be able to get north of 30 points here. And so depending on, you probably need about between 17 and I'd say 24 points to cash this over. You would feel good about, and I think Boston College has got a real good chance to get in that window. So I like this overplay. The numbers aren't out yet. I wanted to see the team total on Louisville here, where that's at, because I think there's going to be some value in that because, again, Boston College is really bad on defense. Florida State took their foot off the gas. They probably should have scored 45 in that game.
Gosh,
so that's
30
Cross
points.
Scored nearly 30 points against Boston College.
Oh, man. Yeah, they had 31. We needed them to get 35.5 over and then score in the final 35 minutes of that game. That was brutal beat, but they're not all the worst beats in the world. This one's going to be a good beat, Luckett. And I think we're going to have to start having some synergy picks here because I like your last one right now. Lay it on the people.
We mentioned that BYU upset of Arkansas, and we're jumping on the other side. Arkansas's going on the road here. It's a big dog in this game, plus 17.5 at LSU. I think it's a little overreaction to what we saw from LSU last week. Nick, the games since Pittman have been here have all been decided by a field goal. Arkansas, LSU. They've all been really close games. Even last year without KJ Jefferson, they played LSU to the wire. Arkansas did. You look at that BYU box score, they had over 400 yards of offense, held BYU to 200-something yards, but they just ruined scoring opportunities and inopportune turnovers. Held them back there. But it's a bounce-back spot for Arkansas in a rivalry game. Arkansas's 12-6 against the spread as an underdog. It's a straight-out underdog under Sam Pittman. I think you get an A effort from Arkansas this week. KJ Jefferson, I think, bounces back, has a pretty big game to keep them hanging around. I wouldn't be surprised if LSU pulls away late, but I like Arkansas to keep it within that number.
Well, there you have it. This is, I think I like that play as well. And I think we're going to start having our own synergy picks of the week. 17.5. That's just so many points. Because we were on the same page there. I'm also considering maybe, I'm intrigued by Harbaugh coming back. Michigan hasn't covered a spread yet, and they get Rutgers, and I think they've blown the doors off Rutgers in the last couple of years, so I could see him running up that score. Also intrigued by UCLA on the road, plus 5.5. We don't know. It's more of a is Cam Rising playing or not sort of deal. Stay away if he's playing. If he's not.
Brett McMurphy reported the expectation is he's playing because the line has jumped from 4, I believe, to 6 now in the last few hours. So it sounds like Rising. He practiced last week. Sounds like he's going to be full go for the Utes. But Whittingham does not say anything, so we won't know until they come out for warm-ups.
Interesting. Well, like I said, next week we're going to have a synergy bet. We're also going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to go live on the show starting on Friday, and then I think we're just going to start doing this thing a day early. Why are we only giving you 24 hours for picks when we can give you 48? We've been recording these on Thursdays. We're going to have a very special live edition of 11 Personnel Thursday afternoon. It's the first day that mobile gambling is open across the state. So we're going to be talking about it on 11 Personnel on the Pigskin Preview. We've got some special guests lined up, some big-time interviews with Kentucky football players. So Luckett, we're rolling a lot out next week for the start of mobile gaming. Might have some new partnerships coming down the pike as well. It's an exciting time now that we won't have to actually go knock on the door at the Red Mile to be able to place a wager here in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, it comes right when things really start to heat up after this week. This is the first, I would say. Week 2 was really fun, but this is the first serious, I think, college football.
Yeah.
Conference play starting, and pretenders become contenders become pretenders really quickly here. And we've got some rivalry games. Arkansas, LSU, Ohio State going to Notre Dame. That's a big deal. It doesn't happen very often. So it's going to be a fun weekend, and all of the weekends from here on out get fun and serious very quickly.
It's going to get serious for the Cats too. Kentucky at Vanderbilt Saturday. Luckett. I think I'm leaning for first quarter Cats. Maybe even a first half here.
Yeah. Still waiting on those numbers to be posted, but yeah,
it feels like Kentucky could get out to an early lead. Yeah, and especially after that tweet from Will Shepherd, it could just be a girlfriend dumping him, but it also is probably a sign of
things aren't going great down there.
Right. So I could see Kentucky jumping out to a hot start. I just always worry about Shepherd and those wide receivers just busted a couple big plays on a secondary that, a lot of those guys are still pretty inexperienced out there.
Mm-hmm. And then Vanderbilt defensive coordinator Nick Howell deactivated his Twitter account this week.
Ooh, it's not good.
People were like, why is that going on? And they asked Lee about it, and he gave kind of a,
because he's going to get fired.
He needs to have that because that's part of the job. He's going to have to recruit, and then he kind of talked around that. So that seems like a tenuous situation right now. And Lee's already botched that OC because you remember 2 years ago that OC just magically wasn't calling plays week 1. Everybody's like, well, what's going on? And he was like, he's taking personal time or something. And they end up, I don't know what happened there. So that's not great. The program management, what we're seeing. So yeah, I mean it seems like the season is on the verge of spiraling for Vanderbilt. Now, what does that mean? Does it just totally fall apart, or do we get like a circle the wagons moment where they play their Super Bowl on Saturday? We don't know. You're just going to have to find out.
And all the action kicks off noon Eastern, 11 a.m. local time. Luckett will be there for KSR with boots on the ground. This has been a fun edition of the Pigskin Preview brought to you by PrizePicks. Let's get some winners. Let's make some money, and we'll see you next week right here on Pigskin Preview.
Cash